Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nocturnal Movie Club. We're joined by my illustrious co-hosts, Jake King and Ethan Sai.
Hi.
We're Singh.
Sing.
Ethan
Close.
Singh.
I'll let that one slide, buddy. You're good.
Thanks, sir. Well, we are discussing WandaVision episode 1 and 2. MCU's back.
After a full year.
A full year plus months. It's crazy. The last thing we
Wow.
got was Far From Home.
Which you and I saw, Jay.
Yes, we did. Our Spider-Man tradition. We'll keep it up with Spider-Man 3. But finally, MCU content, and it was adorable. I'll let you guys go first though, because you know I'm gonna ramble for on and on and on. But let's start with episode 1.
You want to take this one, Ethan?
Sure. I'll definitely take that one. To be honest, I try not to watch a lot of trailers, but for WandaVision, you couldn't dodge them. They were just everywhere you looked.
Every
And
5 seconds there was a new WandaVision clip. WandaVision clip. I'm like, what is going on?
it's crazy.
Feige?
You log on to YouTube. The first thing you see is a WandaVision ad. You'll say, I'll skip it. You put another video on, and right before it is a WandaVision ad. You can't dodge them. And every single ad I watched, I got more and more and more excited. I started off with this show, and from the moment it came on, I was just left with a giddy smile of, oh wow, someone's doing something fresh with television, and it's coming from Marvel, the guys that played safe every single time. This is going to be great. And throughout that first episode, all the true just love for classic television, and I'll take it purely from like a film appreciation perspective as a cinephile. Loved every bit of it. The little nods to everything 50s sitcoms was just spot on, and it was cute. It was awesome. It was nice. It was nice seeing these two characters who, even in the Marvel universe, even in the Infinity War and Endgame films, they were always acting like normal people. Now they got a sitcom to truly just be normal people. They were the best characters for it. It was nice to enjoy. And even that last scene of that episode one, was a great cap off, and a slight knock I'll give them was at the end. They should have hinted a bit more. It was so subtle, the hint of like, yep, there's more to this story than meets the eye. I thought that hint was a little too small. Before I go into my full negatives, I'll just pass it on to Jake.
Well, I found this to be a really, really fresh take. And I was actually talking with somebody right afterwards because, if I'm not mistaken, Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out first before WandaVision, before they switched it. And Falcon and Winter Soldier, like we said before, it looked kind of standard. So it almost felt like Marvel fatigue would have come back if we had watched that first. But with WandaVision, it was just so interesting seeing this concept. Like I saw like a bunch of the trailers. I didn't see any of the clips because I wanted the show to have an impact on me. And I found myself really digging it for the most part. Like it was funny you were saying before about Marvel playing it safe, and sitcoms were the place to play it safe. So it almost kind of feels like a match made in heaven in a way. And but what I loved about it too, like it also kind of plays around with the paranoia of the time, where it was like there's like an underbelly, an undercurrent of something's not right here, even though everything seems totally perfect. And I thought like they were having a lot of fun with all the in jokes and all the homages. Like a lot of this, I felt like I was watching a successor to I Love Lucy,
Yep.
which they were going with. But yeah, I just really liked it.
No, I think episode 1 clearly was very Dick Van Dyke inspired, and even with I've seen all the clips, all the trailers, because I can't help myself, and then but it's still, even with all the clips and all the trailers that I saw, there's a lot of it that was not shown. Like it's still a lot of story that we did not see. A lot of MCU has that good world building. There's clearly some bigger things at play here. I think it's very clear from the beginning of the episode that the show, like, where are the babies? Where's Wanda needs babies? It's like that's a big over, like, so that which plays heavily into the comics of like House of M. This is clearly WandaVision is clearly MCU's House of M. Like that's like this is made clear. Like they're living in like the fake universe that what House of M was. So this is, and I'm cool with that because some people I'm sure are going to be like, oh, I want House of M to be bigger because it was such a big comic event. But I know I think this is cool. It makes sense for MCU's House of M. They don't adapt the comics, word for word. They often do their own thing, and I think this is cool. Um, episode 1 was great. Even just like all the not cool 50 things. Jake, you mentioned it, like even the reference to the 50s and that being the underlying. There's more here. It's like what else is going on. I think episode 2 is where things start to pick up a little bit, and then that's when it gets kind of more references galore. Like I love the Sokovia reference in see episode 1. I thought that was great because you often forget about Sokovia. And then Agatha. I thought Agatha is a lot of, even in the trailers, it doesn't hint at how cool the supporting characters are, and they're doing a lot more than I think they lead on to, which is great. We don't know if they're agents of S.W.O.R.D., which is great. That at the end we saw that S.W.O.R.D. is watching. Especially now that S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone, I think it's great that we have S.W.O.R.D. in play. We know Monica and both some kind of agent of S.W.O.R.D., and she's there. So I mean, from what I gather, I have a few theories, but I'll let you guys go on episode 2 first.
I'll go first again. Keep this round robin going. Episode 2 is pretty good. I think in terms of story driven, just pure like how do they go off with the whole sitcom thing, it was pretty good. I would have liked to at that point start to see them do a little less of the sitcom and more of the overarching story. I'm not liking how they're kind of just falling into this rut of this is like a sitcom that they're going to keep doing every week. I would wanted to see them use it more as a pure framing technique and start to build out the overarching story. But we did get some really cool things. From the very opening of that episode, they had the helicopter with the S.W.O.R.D. logo on it. Because at the end of episode 1.
And in Iron Man colors at that too.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I also like with the use of color. I'm sorry to interrupt, Ethan, but
yeah, go for it.
Like I love that it was almost like a little bit of a nod to Pleasantville in a way, like how black and white sort of represent the simple world, and the color is where complications start to come in. So I thought that was a cool thing that they added.
And
also a nod to Bewitched too, because Bewitched started off in black and white, and then it went to color later on. So I thought, and which Bewitched being a witch and all that stuff.
And even all the effects, they're copying Bewitched a lot in that second episode, especially all the magic tricks. But yeah, the color is such a great way to tell a story as well, because Wanda has created essentially an illusionary, visionary world. And we see in the same second episode that when things don't go the way she wants, she very much says, let's just do that scene.
Yeah.
It's crazy. In episode 1, we kind of get a taste of that when Vision's boss chokes, and she's just like, all right, Vision, just save him. Just can we get this thing fixed for a second? And then in this end of second episode, she doesn't even care of just saying like, how do we fix this or how do we solve this? She's like, let's just take it back. Let's do that scene over again. Let's figure it out. But I do like in the second episode how we get way more prominent S.W.O.R.D. Hints. We get the helicopter with the S.W.O.R.D. logo, and at the very end of the episode, we get the beekeeper with the S.W.O.R.D. logo on his back. In the first episode, it's really easy to miss that S.W.O.R.D. logo. I didn't notice it until I noticed someone else pointed it out. But in that second episode, it's very prominently there.
Yeah, in the second episode, like I agree with everything you said there, Ethan. But what I also agree with is how like this almost seems to be like each episode's going to be basically an homage to a sitcom, with a little bit of a hint of what's going on in the real world. And like one of the things I was thinking afterwards was that this shouldn't be a weekly show. This should have been just like an entire binge.
Yes.
Because like
Absolutely.
with Mandalorian, it makes sense to do it every week because it is episodic and it gives you just enough to stay tuned for the next episode. This one feels like we need more information. And it feels like
so much so. Like
I think as soon as Disney Plus is like as they up their content and they have a ton of stuff coming in, like right now they don't have enough content to like just drop you a whole season, because then you're going to quickly like move on to the next thing. So they're trying to keep that conversation going, I think, with the weekly drop. So we'll see how that goes. So
personally, I think it's going to be a little damaging to the franchise. And this is a hot take, I think, because whenever I view something, I always think, one, how do I think this is critically or / how do I like it? Like, is this a good piece of media? And I also think for the regular guy watching this, because Marvel is something for the everyday man, are they going to like it? So I liked it as a film enthusiast. I saw all those nods. I loved it. The homage to classic television is great. But I also did watch it with my parents and my sister because I was like, I want to see what regular people are going to say. and my parents did not
Mm.
understand it whatsoever because they're not invested into the Marvel universe like we are, right?
Yeah.
And I also did my fair bit of
Right.
skimming on Twitter, IMDb, Metacritic, and saw what people are saying. And a lot of people are just missing the point. They're just saying, why in the world would Disney take his heroes and put them into a sitcom? And they're completely unaware of the fact that there's a bigger story going on, which is understandable. For the casual viewer, you can completely miss the overarching story, and they're not being heavy-handed enough with that. And I do think that's starting to turn some people off.
The perks of having a giant cinematic universe that spans years.
Exactly. Oh, decades. It's crazy.
Yeah, decades. I mean, it's a book. Like, it's like you can't miss a chapter of the book. It's like the MCU and itself. It's like a long TV show. Like every episode of every movie's an episode at this episode, and know what the hell's going on. Especially if you're not a comic dude, it's like a lot of things at play here, and all these subtle hints. I love that you brought up the choking scene in episode 1. It was so crazy to see because you realize that Wanda doesn't realize how she has everyone stuck in this Pleasantville like place, and I think right then and there, that couple who's stuck there, I think they kind of snapped out of it because reality kind of started hitting that, oh, we're stuck and you're gonna let him die. So I think her telling Wanda, I think that's when we realized that this place is not real. This is stuck. It's some kind of hellhole in a way. But I think we're hinting at the bigger thing, which I think is the next phase 4 villain, Mephisto, the devil himself. For sure. I think he's the villain here, manifesting all this stuff. And then of course, it ties to the comics with his babies and the demon shards and all that stuff.
I think you're right. And I think a lot of the characters that we're seeing here are going to play a role in the real world, or whatever is going to be coming out of this reality. Because in episode 2, we start to see Geraldine Rambo, who's first hinted in Captain Marvel. I didn't actually pick up on that, but some people started pointing that one out, which is an interesting hint. She's supposed to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sorry, SWORD. I mixed the two up. And she might have gotten stuck in that world trying to pull Wanda out. So a lot of different here might be, like you mentioned with the couple, might be people who were there and got stuck, might be complete fabrications. But it's really interesting to see where these characters are going to be fitting into the universe later on.
Oh yeah, and of course we know Geraldine, aka Monica Rambeau, is going to pop up in Captain Marvel 2 already. So more world building.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another perk about having a cinematic universe, like there are some character appearances that are going to go like over everybody's heads.
Right.
Like what you mentioned, Ethan. I did not see that at all.
Yeah, some of these are like the level of lore you need to know to get into WandaVision. To me, I think the bar is really high.
Yeah.
Like, I think for me, I'm intermediate. A lot of this is going over my head, but some of this I'm getting. OJ, I think you're more masterclass here. So because a lot of threads are leading to House of M, but House of M is a thread I know very little about.
Oh yeah, this is totally MCU's House of M without a doubt. And I know some of the fanboys are going to be mad that it's not a bigger thing, but I think this what Feige's doing for the MCU, I think it's totally working.
And it's definitely an interesting way to start to bring in the X-Men too. Definitely unconventional. Definitely not what anybody thought of.
Well, it's just ironic because, like, in the comics, she like got rid of mutants,
exactly.
and then in the movies, she's going to bring in mutants, which is like, who better if not a mutant herself, an original mutant, exactly. To bring in the mutants. So it's all beautifully done.
It's an interesting twist, and I really do like how how Kevin Feige's kind of like taking all these different pieces and threads and weaving his own slightly different story. It is a unique way of telling it.
Yeah, I will have to say, like going back to what we were saying about Marvel playing everything safe, this was like their first real like significant departure in quite a long time in terms of style. So
I think the last time we got such a significant departure was Winter Soldier.
Oh, interesting.
That's like the first time. It was like a political thriller, I thought, within a comic book movie. And it was the first time that, like, oh, we're going to try something different. We're going to try our genre, but within a genre, within the comic book world. And I think the next time we'll get this again is, I think, Doctor Strange because it's a horror movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that they were taking these creative choices and creative leeways. I think because as you guys say, it becomes a bit formulaic, and I think this is the perfect. This is the creativeness, the creative choices we've been asking for. I think from the MCU, and we're finally getting it, and we don't know what to do with it.
And they've got the powerhouses too. Like the MCU's got. When you mentioned like times when they broke the mold, Black
Right.
to me is like as the best example, because when Ryan Coogler came on, he kind of just said, "Forget all the staff guys. I'll bring my own guys in. We'll do different. It still fits the formula. They're not breaking the formula, but cinematic styling, everything about the music, the score, the camera effects, all that stuff was different, and it was new. It was different. People loved it. And here they've kind of just a whole new level of different, a whole new level of
Oh, it's so cool.
I'm loving it. I think the fans are all over it, but I am concerned that regular people are starting to miss it a little bit. They're not big fans. Some people are, some people aren't, but we'll see how that goes. As each episode comes out, we'll start to figure it out. I know one of Disney's biggest concerns is that once the Mandalorian ends, there's that famous meme of with the Mandalorian credits rolling and the guy going, "All right, Disney, see you this time next year," because no one watches the year. This is a good way of them to try to keep that engagement, but we'll see how it goes there.
Yeah, I only have one criticism about the aesthetic they're using. So like they got the picture mocked up to make it look like a sitcom, but the audio still feels like a Marvel movie. Because I did see Mank a few days ago, which is a beautiful looking movie, by the way. But they did something cool with the audio where they made it seem like it would be from the 40s. Like it's a little muffled, but you can still hear it. So
Right.
Sounds.
After seeing that, like it just became more noticeable this time.
I'll give him 1 point of credit though for that knock. The 4:3 ratio. Got to give him credit for actually doing that. I don't think anybody would be bold enough in this day and age to actually do that, and it is a bit jarring. I agree with the sound. I do think they did that, and you can hear Olsen Elizabeth Olsen trying to at least get into that voice every once in a while of that old 50s housewife trying to bring back that era. She doesn't keep the voice constantly, which she probably should either do one or the other, but I agree. The old sound should come back. That old
Olsen Wells.
I'll go ahead and defend Elizabeth's choices. I think a part of it was like, when you're in the realm of the 50s, I think, and occasionally she's snapping out of it.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead and say those were deliberate choices to play devil's advocate. Because it's like I think they want to drop hints of like reminding you, oh, we're in the 50s, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, this is not true. We're not in the 50s right now. It's actually the year 2023.
Yes.
In MCU time, and we're stuck in somewhere crazy. I think a big hit that led to me, like, with my for sure manifesto confirmation was a lady has said, the devil's here, and then I think Catherine Hahn's character was like, that's not, it's not the only place the devil is at. I was like, and then also just the big thing on the big emphasis on her having the kids, and Manifesto plays such a big part with the children part in the whole House of M storyline. So it's just no way he's not the main villain. I think he's probably gonna be the main villain for Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3.
And I think there's a little bit of hinting that, as you mentioned, that I forgot the name of the character. The woman who leads like the women's association in the neighborhood, that she's gonna have something to do with that big villain reveal as well.
Oh yeah.
What was her name?
I want to say
Agatha.
Patty, but
yeah, that's the neighbor. That's Catherine Hahn, who we're pretty sure is Agatha Harkness, the wit, Wanda's comic book mentor.
And this trailers sort of allude to that too, because we see her in the present time. A little bit of a spoiler from the trailers. So that they kind of confirmed that basically she's going to be that. But we don't know much about the other ones. One interesting thread I wanted to ask you about, OJ, because you are a master of this universe. Do you think they're going to follow the line of logic where Scarlet Witch is the daughter of Magneto in this universe?
No, because they recently retconned that in the comics, where they were like, for years that was Magneto's daughter, and then all of a sudden, recently in the comics, we found out that Pietro and Wanda are no longer his children. So I think they're, you know, they took care of that in the comics, so they don't have to pull that over here.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so like often the comic will reflect they do whatever they play in the movies will often like play a part in the comics. They go hand in hand. So yeah, in the comics, those are no longer his children.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I was wondering if that was going to come up somehow. Okay, that's good. That's good to clarify.
Yeah, they took care of it. Feige's on it.
Feige's on it. That's perfect.
Yeah, he's been really handling this well too.
Oh yeah, this is definitely like Feige's awards play. I think he really wants those accolades and the Emmys, and I think Wanda's probably his best shot. What I am curious about and nervous at the same time is if Vision is going to stay around after WandaVision. I think, is he a fantasy? Is he actually back? Did she actually wield him back? We don't know. But I think that's a big question mark right now. If Vision's going to stick around past WandaVision.
I think he will. I don't know, because there is the version of Vision, right, where he's not red and the like Tony Stark color. He's just silver, and I think they might bring him back in that reincarnation of some kind. Personally, I would like for him to stay dead, not because I don't like the character. I think Paul Bettany is great. I just think it would do more for Wanda's character if he gets removed from the show, especially after all the things that's going to happen in this series. That would be an interesting way to play it, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I don't know. It's been a big question mark, especially with all the casting rumors. Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange 2. There's been nothing on Vision.
Right.
We definitely know Wanda's popping up in both those movies, especially Doctor Strange 2 in a huge way. But we'll see. It's looking very touchy right now. I don't know, Paul. This might be your last go around. The MCU checks might be gone, but who knows? I mean, today we got rumblings that Cap is back, which I think is crazy. I think way too soon. It's totally going to undercut Falcon's show and Winter Soldier.
I did not hear that, OJ. Can you fill us all in? Because I haven't heard that. That is some hot news. I haven't heard it.
Yeah, reportedly the deal is done. I mean, I saw Chris Evans refuted it on Twitter, as he often does with things, but and then it turned out to be true. Yeah, apparently he's back for Doctor Strange 2.
Maybe it's gonna be like a cameo or something.
But yeah, maybe it's a cameo. I've heard we're getting many different versions of Captain America in that movie, or John Krasinski Captain America, which I'm excited about. So we'll see. Maybe it's just a cameo. I'm also hearing Robert's definitely in negotiations for Ironheart, for him to be the AI, how he was in the comics, Robert Downey Jr. AI. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm like, fuck. I was like, those two come back. Where the hell is ScarJo? I mean,
oh yeah, we still gotta get Black Widow.
We still have to get Black Widow. Still so much to happen. I'm super excited for episode 3. Now Wanda is officially pregnant. Oh, we didn't talk about the all the Hydra Easter eggs, which I thought was cool.
Okay. Wait, did you know it's multiple? I only found one.
Oh, no, it's just one.
There's the Hydra Easter egg and the Stark Easter. Plus, can I just say I love those commercials?
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I was nervous when they said there was going to be commercials. I'm like, what kind of commercials are they putting in here? And then it was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Those classic commercials.
I love it.
Classic.
I can walk us through the first one because the first one I noticed something interesting. With the episode 1, you have the toaster, and the toaster is by Stark. And I see a lot of people pointing out something where, like, in the film lore, Wanda sees a Stark missile that failed to explode for several days before she finally gets rescued. And again, with Hydra later on, not to go too much into that, about they were the ones who did the experimentation on her. So she's coming back and remembering all these different details. And another reason why she might even want to live in a sitcom is because she may have seen him as a child and viewed them as an idealized world. But in that same commercial with the Stark toaster, the way the toaster like pulses up and gets ready and gets warmed up and it's making that beeping sound, it does sound very similar to Tony Stark's pulsar on his Iron Man suit. And it's all coming back to that Stark magic.
Yeah. Did you see they also did the Pleasantville effect on that toaster as well?
Oh,
they did with the red.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, I think, it also relates back to Wanda's story and why she even became an Avenger in the first place. Where it was apparently she blamed her and her brother blamed Tony for
Right.
the destruction of her hometown. So I think also a nod to that too.
Exactly.
And then we got the Strucker watches.
Structure watches with the Hydra
Strucker
logo.
watches. More Wanda backstory. You know, Baron von Strucker was the scientist who experimented on her and Pietro. And I think the trailers have hinted at some kind of flashback, I think, towards that. So I think we'll probably be seeing Baron von Strucker again soon.
That would be interesting. That would
I'm
definitely
also
introduce more mutants too. I don't know. Just call on threats.
that's way too much credit to give Baron von Strucker, the creator of Mutant.
It's true. It's true. It's probably gonna be. It's definitely gonna be Wanda. I know her two kids
Yeah.
in the comics are also gonna have superpowers. I don't remember.
Well,
what
yeah. Yeah, Wiccan and Speed
the
icons.
speed guy I know. I don't remember what the other guy's power is.
Wiccan is similar to Wanda's powers.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very similar to Wanda's powers. They're both iconic team members of the Young Avengers, which is, you know, a big play over at Disney right now. We got, you know, Catherine Newton coming in as Cassie Lang. We also have, you know, Haley Steinfeld. Now we have Wiccan and Speed. Well, I'll be curious to see who's playing those guys. Hulkling popping up in She-Hulk. So Young Avengers are coming, and Wiccan and Speed are a huge component to that happening. So they're definitely coming. What I'm curious is how they're going to age them up so they're on the team. I'm thinking there's some kind of like hell dimension where they were raised, probably something we've seen on plenty of sci-fi shows as a cheap way to like raise people up. Oh, hell dimension! You know, the hell dimension, time goes by there quickly, something like that.
Slippery slope though. It's a slippery slope when you start playing with a timeline like that. I don't know how they're gonna do it either. It's gonna be weird though.
Well, I'm assuming I'm going to spoil. Well, here it is. I'm going to spoil all of WandaVision. I'm ruining WandaVision for the two of you, just FYI.
Give it to us.
Okay, bring it on.
I'm pretty sure and here's a theory, and then you guys can come back later, and we'll see if it happens. I think at the end, Manifesto is going to take her or him or Agatha are going to take the kids to be raised in the hell dimension, and then that's when Wanda's going to go full on batshit crazy.
Right.
That is my theory.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about this when we were talking about the Investor Day thing, like how Wanda might be the villain of Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
But it's not really Wanda. Wanda's just the vessel of villainy, and I think it's Manifesto who's pulling all the puppeteer strings here. And plus, we saw a Manifesto Easter egg and Loki trailer too, with the devil stained glass. I don't know if you guys saw it, but so I think he's coming for sure.
Well, hopefully, all this comes faster than the dragons.
That was shady. We'll see. But yeah, overall, 2 great episodes. So happy. We've been starving for MCU time, and we needed it. We got it. Especially, you know, I think we had a couple of great things over the break, like The Boys. The Boys were great. Really, you know, quench our thirst. But here we are, WandaVision. All right, boys. I think we've concluded our WandaVision review. Overall, thumbs up, right?
Yeah, definite thumbs up, but with a caveat. I don't know where it's going to go, how well it's going to play out for the next couple episodes. I think first 2 episodes, good. The middle episodes are going to be pretty average, and then the last couple episodes are going to be amazing. So I think it'll be an uneven season.
Yeah, I agree. But for now, thumbs up. They're off to
now thumbs up for sure. Definitely.
Stay tuned. It gets better. I haven't seen it.
That should be the headline for this video. Stay tuned, it gets better.
It is.
That is the story for this show. That's the message I want to give to everybody.
That is literally the story and the motto for the show. Stay tuned. It's going to get better one of these days.
But it's still of George Carlin from Villain's Head. It does get better.
It does. Give us time, guys. We're warming up. All right, guys. I'll call you later.
All right. Thanks, guys.